is the brand new 2015 BMW M3. And I have to confess something here. I have a bit of a history with this car. Well, not this car, but the older version, the E36. Back in 1995, I think it was, I bought one European delivery, and the car almost killed me. I was passing a Volvo on these wet, rutted out roads in the Czech Republic, and as I was coming back in my lane, the BMW started to go sideways, and next thing you know, I was a passenger. I rolled the car into a tree and almost killed myself and my wife. So it is with a lot of trepidation that I approach this car today, because we are here at Road America, where BMW flew me out to test drive this at one of the most challenging race courses in America. And that is coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. And keep your fingers crossed that history does not repeat itself. Is that your music, man? Is that your music?
I'm young at heart.
You are young at heart and young in spirit. This is Nick Miles. He's my driving buddy partner on today's BMW M3 and M4 media launch. We are in the M4 here. This is your color you picked it?
I did. It's the same color as my jeans, or close to the same color as my jeans.
Look at that. And if people want to visit your website, where do they go?
Testmiles.com. There you can see all my Fox News and NBC stuff.
Under the very light aluminum hood is a straight six twin turbocharged 3-liter. That's right, we're back to a 6-cylinder as opposed to the last generation's 8-cylinder. The 5th gen also gets 2 turbos, 425 horsepower, and 406 pound-foot of torque. Now you can get it with a manual transmission, or in this case, this is a dual clutch automatic 7-speed that of course powers the wheels that God intended. They're rear wheels. So let's see what it sounds like. Should be good. All right, let's hear what it sounds like. Oh, come on, give me more power. No, 3,000, that's as high as it'll go. Oh no, I was wrong, listen to that. Oh, 425 horsepower does sound intimidating. Harder. Let's start with this car. First of all, I'm not a huge fan. There are some little niggles here. I'm not a huge fan of this. It's a little bit awkward. I like the old straight, put it in drive. Now you got to fuss with this thing.
Yeah, electronic shifter is complicated, and it's complicated to get it from manual to automatic.
To neutral and then to reverse like this.
Yeah.
So I know the Germans would be like, you are just being silly American. This is the bit of the future, but I'm not...
Was that a German accent?
That was my bad German accent, yeah. All right. And for the first time with the 5th generation, you not only get one M3, you in essence get 2 M3s. There is the M3, which is the 4-door family version of this car, and of course if you're more into coupes, or do you say coupes, there is the M4. The two cars are virtually identical. But the important thing to remember is that this is BMW's racetrack, race-bred racing machine. So everything about the car is butch. It's angular, it's mean, it's in your face. This is a car that when you see it in your rearview mirror and the Autobahn, you're probably going to move over because you know it's got the power to pass you. All right, let's put the M1 button here. Let's go to M2. Now M2 all of a sudden changes things around quite a bit. It disables a lot of the traction control so you can get the back end out. It puts it in much sharper steering mode, much sharper throttle response. and basically just makes it a lot more fun car to drive. And
I think these buttons, definitely in the M6, are programmable, so you can decide how they are.
You can change everything.
Yeah.
but that's what we want. A little bit of turbo lag. All right, and there's a stop sign. Whoa, these brakes are phenomenal.
Right.
And this has been your test ride with Nick and Roman. Come back tomorrow when we get in the Lincoln MKC.
Right, when I'll be wearing different color pants because I need to be.
All right, well, let's give him a little bit more of a...
I didn't think you were going to make that stop sign, by the way. And that the railway track we just went over was kind of high. I think we may have launched it at that point.
we would have been the first Dukes of Hazzard
exactly.
M4.
Onto the old wooden bridge, and that would have been the end of our career with BMW.
I do love that engine note. Oh yeah, and that, here's the thing. I'm a huge fan of manual gearboxes, but you have to admit this automatic dual clutch is phenomenal. I mean, it just rips shifts one after another.
There was a point sometime in the last 5 years when automatic or these semi-automatic gearboxes became better than the manuals.
Oh, this is incredible. And this is what BMW is saying is the selling point of this car, right? It's a car you can drive to work, put your mom in the back, take her to church, and then on the weekend you can track it.
Absolutely, and I think that's the beauty of it, because even things like the ceramic brakes,
$10,000 option, dude.
We saw how well they work, and for some people they are necessary. If you go fast, you need to stop fast.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? I was trying to think what cars compete with this, and obviously it's the AMG line from Mercedes and the R cars from Audi,
and somewhat the Fs from Lexus.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're still figuring out what the F is. But let's get back to this. You think that these M cars are better than the AMGs and the Rs?
The RSs. I actually think
RSs,
they're very different animals. I think that BMWs are a collective of people's ideas, whereas Mercedes is much more an individual. It's one man, one engine with the Mercedes AMGs, whereas these are much more of a sort of a more uniform company idea. And the M's are so accessible.
The interior of the 5th generation M3 and of course M4 is all business. And what I mean by that is this car is driver centric. Everything you touch has this feel of you're taking the car by the scruff of the neck and you're gonna push it around the track as fast as possible. And that's a great thing, because when you get on the road, it still feels like a high performance car. In fact, I'm usually not a huge fan of BMW's interiors. I find them a little bit too austere, a little bit too Bauhaus. But in this application, carbon fiber, soft touch materials, everything aimed at the driver, I like it. I like it a lot. And they are ice cream, but they're different flavors of ice cream, right? Yeah. So in my mind, the AMGs are the muscle cars of the bunch, right? Yeah. We're talking about like maybe engines that even overpower the chassis to some extent. Yeah. And then when you get into the Audi RS line, the big difference, of course, is that you have all-wheel drive. So now you're looking at something that's much more usable in states where it gets cold and snowy, versus places where it doesn't, where rear-wheel drive is not necessarily a negative thing in the winter. So you've got strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate, and the question is, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? All these cars, in my mind, are terrific. They'll all put a huge smile on your face. Right. They'll all make your pants turn that color if you let them. A performance car that puts out 425 horsepower, and at the same time has a back seat that you could put the child seats in. Yes, indeed, child seats in an M3. And you know what? It's pretty roomy back here. I'm really impressed by just how much usability this M3 offers. And of course, if you don't have kids or you want to put style over Utility, you can always go for the M4, which is basically identical except it only has 2 doors. Because let's face it, that noise out the back is glorious, the torque is glorious, 406 pound-foot of torque, which is just, mind-blowing, but you do pay, $65,000 base for this, and that's base, and you know how the Germans are, right? You're going to end up paying a lot for the stuff that's in here.
You just talked about the ceramic brake options. I mean, you talked about something like Bluetooth costs you money.
Yes, yeah, the technology package, yeah, all that. And then the question is this worth 80K?
While you're doing it, it feels like it is worth 80K. I'm not sure, when you're in the dealership, it's worth 80K.
What I can tell you about the new M3 and M4 is that it starts at about $63,000 for this one and $65,000 for the M4. If you want the track goodies like the ceramic brakes and add another $10,000 technology, you're looking at a car track ready more in the $80,000 neighborhood. It's going to your dealerships as we speak, so it'll be available now. And of course, on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or not forget it, I'm going to say I don't know, because having spent only a few hours behind the wheel, it's not fair to you, and it's not fair to BMW, and quite honestly, I need to get this back in Colorado to see how it does at a mile above sea level. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Thanks for watching, and check out TFLcar.com for everyday real-world reviews. Ciao!
I think that's an interesting question you bring up, Roman, but I think one of the issues is there is room for every flavor of ice cream.
Yes.
It depends where I am or what I'm doing, but for instance, that AMG 63 wagon.
Yes, that's crazy, dude.
There's nothing that replaces that in any line I've ever seen. But then, like this car, it's very hard to find a Mercedes that equals the performance of this, the 3 or the 4 M series.
And I'm also really thrilled that they went back to a straight 6, because let's face it, that's what BMWs are about, right?
Yeah.
I always felt weird when they put the 8 into this M3. It just felt like it was the wrong engine for the wrong car. So I'm glad they went back to a straight 6. I'm glad they got twin turbos. I mean, this is obviously the most powerful, the lightest, yada yada, M Series 3, at least, or 4, that they've yet done. And the question at the end of the day is it a drivable track car? And we're in kind of that sport mode. Let me take it out of M mode right now. That should soften everything up. Can you live with this? Could you take this to work every day?
Absolutely. There's no question that it's definitely a dual-purpose vehicle, and I think one of the beauty is I've driven it on the track and I've driven it through these streets, and it's perfect for both of them. The biggest problem that I come across is I have a hard time controlling myself in the car on these streets. It's really hard not to push that M2 or M1 button and reset and remap the car. And I just want to be a 19-year-old all over again.
Yes, you want to go to 11 every single time in this car.
Absolutely.